The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champion.
Holy three. Good. Holy ball. Back out Shelley. Three ball. Good. Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and we've got another busy show for you. Tons of interviews to bring your way. Last night, Cornerbacks coach Rod Chance met with the media. We have that for you. Also, QB1 and QB2 met with the media today. Tyler Shough, Anthony Brown. Going to hear from the two guys going for that starting job for arguably the most important position on the gridiron. We have that for you today. We did not hear from Jamal Hill yet on the show because we ran out of time yesterday. Ryan Walk also spoke to the media. Ryan Walk, the star, of course, of the Thursday edition of Throwback Thursday Quack Minutes. I don't know if we're going to do those again. I'm going to have to talk to Ryan and Rob about that and see, because tomorrow's Thursday, so it could be a Throwback Thursday with Ryan Walk. We're going to walk it back.
He's a lot busier this season.
Yeah, that's true. Ryan has been working out with the ones and then getting some good reps for the Ducks. And a walk-on, remember, from Eugene. Easy guy to root for. There's no doubt about that. What else we have today? We have yet to hear from Mark Wasikowski. No real big updates from the Oregon baseball fall media availability, except that they're excited to get back out there, and practice looks a little bit different, kind of what you'd expect. What else can we tell you from inside the Country Financial Studio today? That's about it. Let's get into interviews. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Everybody wants to hear from the coaches and the players, right? Well, let's hear from Rod Chance. Part one, he met with the media last night talking about his cornerback group. That, look, I understand. You know, you lose a guy like Thomas Graham, things change in the cornerback room. Diamador Lenore opting back in, but I think Rod Chance still pretty darn happy with the talent at that cornerback position. He spoke to the media about that and more last night.
Between your coaching and playing days, you've made it across the country to a number of different stops, including being here at Oregon before. What were some of the factors that drove you back here to Oregon to coach for the Ducks?
The relationships, I think having a relationship with Coach Cristobal, having a relationship with Coach Hayward, Coach Avalos, and knowing him in the past and the defense that he set forth. It's all about relationships in this business, finding the right opportunity, the right program that you can see, the team goals, the team visions towards, and also eventually, some of those individual things that I like to personally pursue, for my own career. So for me, coming to Oregon was about those relationships, having the opportunity to do something special with people that I know and I love and I trust. And at the same time, having the opportunity to win championships, and then hopefully, move on to something better personally, later on down the line.
Rod, I just wanted to go over where your guys are at in terms of field or boundary. From Manning, Triquez, and Daywood, just which side are each one of those guys lined up at?
To be honest, with this year, COVID, obviously causing a lot of people, to really stretch their depth. So for us, we're moving bodies all around from the field to the boundary, just because given the circumstances, you never know who you might have up for a particular week. So for us, we're just going to continue to move those bodies around, continue to make sure everybody gets work in the field, gets work in the boundary. That way, regardless of the situation, the bodies that we have available to us, we have someone to have experience going forward into that game plan.
Rod, curious, what are your thoughts just overall on your unit, and how big was it to get Diamador back on this field and with your unit?
You know what? I'm excited about our unit. These young men some of them have been here for a few years waiting their opportunity. I'm playing behind some really good football players, and, now they're up. So I've been excited just to see their passion, their level of football acumen developed by the day, and just their infectious energy. Obviously, adding a player that has 39 starts, I believe that's a number under his belt, is really, really helpful. So having him come back to steady the room, there isn't a situation that Diamador has not seen. Having him back has been refreshing. It's been comforting for for the rest of the players too, that they have one of the big brothers back. And it's been a lot of fun, man. These guys are hungry. They're ready to fly around and make plays, but they're in a growth mindset. And our biggest thing is that we want to be able to challenge and respond. The results are going to be the results, but we want to challenge every single play. And regardless of what those results may be, we want to make sure that we respond to those in the right manner, the way our culture dictates.
Hey, Coach, there's a few guys on your unit that I haven't seen much of since high school, redshirt freshman Triquez Bridges, and then freshmen J.J. Greenfield and Dante Manning. Can you just give us an update on what you've seen out of those guys and how they're doing for your unit right now?
I'll tell you what, I would say that this class is phenomenal, not just from a football standpoint, but from a character standpoint for how they handle their business in the classroom, how they're doing the little things, showing up to meetings on time, early is on time around here. So this is an exceptional group of young men, period. But those individuals that you mentioned are all good players, all developing at different rates. Obviously, you got Triquez Bridges, who's doing a really nice job this fall camp. But you can't coach those long levers that he has. So we're being demanding of him to make sure that he can use the tools that God has given him. And he's getting taught on a daily basis, to really bring that emphasis out, that he has a longer body that we don't necessarily have in the room, and we got to get more out of him. Jonte's been a really, really pleasant surprise. He's a very, very smart individual. He really has some intangibles about him that people really gravitate towards who he is. Sharp dude in the meeting room, excited to get him out there, and continue to see how he's growing. He's picking things up at a really good rate, but we got a really good track record here, about playing freshmen the right way and making sure that they have enough on their plate that is not necessarily too much. So those guys have been doing very well. J.J. Greenfield is an effort, tough, hard-nosed guy, man. You're going to see that dude flying around. His care factor is really high in terms of what he is about the football. He's what I kind of equate that to myself. He's an overachiever, that he's going to give you every single thing he's got on every single snap. It matters. He cares, and he cares really, 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 really a lot about it. So we're really excited about JJ as well.
Hey, Coach Chance, welcome back to Eugene. Just going off of that, your thoughts on Mykael Wright and what you think his biggest strengths are on the field?
Well, you can't coach fast. You can try and develop him and get him with the strength coaches, but dude's lightning fast. You can change direction and like that in the snap of a dime. So just to be around him on a consistent basis and really get a chance to hear him. Mykael's a very quiet person by nature, and really I've been probing and prompting him to really kind of unpeel the onion, all right, really unpeel who he really is as a person, and there's a lot of personality behind that. But obviously, man, the dude has some unreal athleticism, that some things that you can't coach. But, guys know the history about him, that him not playing his senior year of high school, now we're really trying to catch up and dive in on the details and the fundamentals of the position. So he's been a welcome, maturation for him. He's took a huge step forward. He's trying to be a better leader every single day, and it's a process for him, but he cares about it, and I'm excited to coach him. I'm glad he's here.
Having a bag packed is part of your business, but you're a young guy and you've already, been to Rhode Island and Minnesota and Utah and Oregon twice. What's this journey been like for you so far, and, what does it mean to be in the position you're in right now? Man, I tell myself all the time, and I pinch myself in the morning. I told our players this yesterday. I pinch myself every day when I wake up and I get to come to Oregon. It's been a blessing for me. I did not have the silver spoon or the traditional path into the profession with the graduate assistant at this great university or any other university that or at the FBS level or any of those things. So for me to be a high school football coach, to scrape and claw my way through the profession and network through it, took me some places that I didn't think I'd ever be, but every single one of those experiences were filled with great people and great experiences for me, that I left behind and to move forward, whether it was calling plays, whether it was learning under James Franklin, learning under Derek Mason. There was a lot of things, learning under the last place I was at. There's a lot of things along those stops that have made me the coach that I am, but it's been a total blessing. I wake up every morning giddy. I get here early. Sometimes I don't want to leave. But this is a blessing. It's been a hell of a journey for me and my family, and we're just excited on being here and having a place that we can kind of, set down some roots here for a little bit.
Rod Chance, he's been a Duck, and he's now back with the Ducks in a coaching capacity, and I can tell you, coaching staff's glad to have him. He's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Every assistant coach this year brought to you by WVCI. Fight like a Duck with cancer care you can count on. Up next, we're going to hear more from Coach Chance, also Tyler Shough and Anthony Brown, talking quarterbacks today. Stick with us. More coming up. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Learfield IMG College.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Today's show brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill coming up. We'll take you around the Oregon Athletic Department. First, though, we're going to continue hearing from Rod Chance, William Valley Cancer Institute Research Center, bringing you all of our assistant coach interviews this season. Part 2 with the Oregon Cornerbacks coach, Rod Chance.
Hey, Coach. Right after you were hired, you went out and kind of got Dante Manning locked in to Oregon. One, what was that like? That whole process like? And then 2, with COVID and everything going on, what was it like kind of coaching him up through a very different offseason as he was your lone newcomer?
Definitely. Well, it did happen fast. I think I got a call on a Wednesday. I was in Eugene on Thursday, and we might have flew out Friday. So that was a really fast process. So obviously, we got a waiver from the NCAA being able to do that. So really hopped on the plane, came to Eugene the very next morning. Met coach at the airport, and we actually flew to Dante's home. So the good thing about it, I did have some familiarity with Dante at my last institution. We did recruit him. He did choose to commit elsewhere at that time. So there wasn't necessarily a dry, relationship there with us. He kind of knew me. There were some students that were that was committed to our last institution, my last institution, that was on this high school football team that could reference who my character was. They interacted with me a little bit more than Dante had in the past. So I think that helped bridge the gap. But as soon as I took the job, I got his information, and we were communicating from day one, just trying to get ourselves on the same page. He made me a promise. I made him a promise, and that's between he and I. But and so far, he's been holding up his end of the bargain. I plan on doing mine.
Rod, going back to your original job in the coaching profession, wanted to confirm, when you were at Alpharetta, were you a member of MCA of Georgia? And since it's kind of a recruiting-related –
To be honest, back then, the MCA of Georgia was really starting to get going. Ahmad and I are really good friends. He and I talk quite often a bit, just because my roots are in the state of Georgia in terms of a high school football coach. But that's something that Ahmad has been, nurturing and developing for the past few years, and it just kind of took off. It kind of started off as something in recruiting to where they tied in, a symposium or a clinic, if you would, for the Minority Coaches Association, and you could not attend the camp. which had all the 300 top players in the state, you know, to able to come there. You had to come to the convention, come to the clinic in order to go to that camp and evaluate those players. So very smart decision by Ahmad. But, you know, it wasn't as developmental as when I was in Georgia, but he and I have kept in touch throughout the years, and, you know, very proud of where that program is going and what he's doing with it. He's spreading it all across the country now, and everybody's kind of blanking it up off of it now.
How important is that organization? As I know you've been involved with it and keep communication there. Brian, Mario, obviously, as you guys try to open doors in that recruiting hub that is. And I know that PJ previously had gone down there to one of the conventions only because I was there physically and I saw him. So just that relationship is always important to opening up that hub and recruiting.
Well, here's the deal, man. You go down the South, you know, you got to have relationships, you know, to go down in that deal. So for me, going in that program and seeing what it does eventually every year is open doors for young minority coaches like myself who may not have had the traditional route into the profession. And, you know, that's a very near and dear heart to me because there are a lot of people that are still in the same places that still have the same desires, you know what I mean, and the passion. God just happened to choose me. So for me, man, that program's always going to be, you know what I mean, in my eyes, one of the most important, you know, just because, you know, it's all about exposure, you know, all about networking and really what I like to call is leaving the ladder behind. You know, it's our responsibility as coaches, whether you're white, black, you know what I mean, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, you know, that you help people because we've all have had help along the profession. So for me, as a profession, that program, is top notch. You go through certain coaches who have spoken at those programs. They speak at them, but certain coaches like Coach Cristobal and certain others, you see them hiring those same people who may have been from high school programs. You see those same coaches who are opening up the doors for graduate assistants or from smaller programs. So, you know, I'm ever so careful to make sure that we're in that program for the right reasons and not just for the recruiting reasons, because the recruiting reasons are a part of it. It is a benefactor. We benefit from that. But the true cause, the true meaning is to open doors, to network, and help teach and lead the next group of coaches coming forward.
Yeah, I was curious. You have the unique perspective of being here in 2018 and now. What's the difference between this program from when you were here in 2018 compared to now? Being away from the program for a year, what have you seen that's different?
You know, I think obviously, you know, the culture is growing stronger. Okay, 2018 was Coach Cristobal's first season, so you're implementing a lot of those cultural strategies, those cultural beliefs, and now it's a lot more buy-in, you know, on this side of it. You know, I think you know, our processes are very similar. You just got a different defensive coordinator, obviously a couple more pieces, but the cultures remain intact. It's gotten a lot stronger. You know, you see coaches that have developed. You know, I've developed as a coach, you know what I mean, since the last time these guys saw me as well. So it's been a welcome, you know what I mean, just to be back amongst common people that I know and love.
Coach, I was really interested when I was reading through your resume. It just seems like you're a guy that, like all coaches, you've coached in a lot of places, but you've been to every corner of the country. Like you're a guy from the great town of Lauderdale, been to the Northeast, been to the West, been to the Midwest. What can you recommend? You know, if you're out there recruiting a guy to Oregon, how can you recommend, having seen all these places, Oregon to a guy? What's nice about Oregon?
You know, I think it's Oregon. You only get one place, you know what I mean, to come to Oregon. Yes, I've been in a lot of places before, but each one of those experiences have taught me something, have brought me to some new people, introduced me to some new coaches. But, you know, you talk about being from South Florida. I've coached high school football in the state of Georgia. You know, I played football in Rhode Island, coached up that way, been in Nashville. And when I left Nashville, you know, when I went to take the defense coordinator job in Southern Utah, my mindset then was I had never been west of Texas in my life. So I was like, hey, this is a job that I could potentially take. You know, could extend my background, can really extend my network in terms of me having the ability to work in these circles, to have ability to attain one of these jobs one day. So it was one of the jobs that, you know, FCS job in hopes of, you know, hindsight 2020, it really paid off for me.
Hi, Coach Chance. Great to meet you. When you talk about Michael, you said that you can't coach speed. A lot of people have kind of been worried about tackling and, you know, some other fundamental things as we get going here again. So with that being said, what have been some of the skills or the technique things that you have been stressing with your group in fall camp?
As you said, man, you can look around college football. I think that's one thing, the advantage that we do have in the Pac-12, that we have the ability to watch and observe and see what some of those difficulties or challenges may be for certain teams. I think for us, we always want to start with our process of being humble and hungry. And then what that entails is that we got to be able to handle our process, the cycle of the snap, alignment, getting the call, understanding the situations, because football is games of situations, right? So knowing the down and distance, where we are on the field, some of those things or those tips and those keys can be the difference between you making the play and you're not making the play. So for us, we're really just trying to really get those guys dialed up to understand situational ball. All right, where's my help? What's the structure of this defense? All right, what's the location? Where's everybody at? Where's my field location? What's the personnel grouping that is on the field right now? So I think it's the things that happen in between the ears to allow the body, all right, to make those plays. We want to use our technique to bring us to the plays. All right, we want to use our athleticism to actually make those plays.
Coach, kind of a recent flashback here, but what's it like for you to see Ugo Amadi balling it out in the Seahawks secondary? And are you surprised at all by his immediate success in the NFL?
Not at all, man. I've known Ugo since Ugo was in high school. Ugo went to high school in Nashville when I was at Vanderbilt at the time, and I wanted to coach him then. You know, he obviously came to Oregon, and I had the opportunity to be in the room with him and Coach Hayward and, you know, Matrell McGraw and all of those dudes that were in that room at that particular time. But Ugo is an amazing individual. I knew that he would find a role for himself in the National Football League, whether that be special teams, playing nickel, playing corner, or playing safety, just because of his versatility. But like I'm training our players, like I'm training Diamador now, like I'm training Mikael right now. If you can handle yourself in the meeting room, if you can handle yourself on the board and be able to take the information that the coaches are giving you in the classroom and bring it down to the grass, the sky's the limit for you. Because all these dudes here are talented. It's just putting all the little fine details together to allow that athleticism come to life.
That's great stuff from Rod Chance. Very articulate. You can see why the coaches and the players equally love him. Rod Chance, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Meanwhile, as we take you inside the cornerback position, it's our Oregon Imaging Center's inside look. So we know that Diamador Lenore is back. They call him Mr. Bump and Run, right? He likes to always press, and then he can take off and run with anybody. Well, with Thomas Graham opting out, the obvious solution is Mikael Wright takes that spot. We've seen him grade out so well by Pro Football Focus, one of the top graded freshman defensive backs in the entire country last year. But you add in a redshirt freshman in Triquez Bridges. You heard Coach Chance mention that he's done some good things. And Bridges, remember everybody, he's 6'3", 185. Bridges is a big, big frame for a redshirt freshman. And then Coach Cristobal has brought this name up a couple times. People sometimes forget about how good DJ James was, the 6-foot sophomore. He's been solid in the times that he's played for Oregon. So you have some experience at that position with Lenore, Wright, James, who's played some football, Bridges, different type of body, and you add in Dante Manning, the 6', 192 Kansas City, Missouri native, the freshman who was so highly recruited. I think that cornerback position maybe is a little bit deeper than people realize, especially with some guys that have versatility. You heard Coach Chance mention that they're going to move guys around. This year, more than any, you're going to have some flexibility to play different positions because we all don't know what could happen with this pandemic. That's your inside look at the cornerback position, brought to you by Oregon Imaging Centers. Established in 1988, Oregon Imaging Centers would like to remind you that you have a voice in choosing your medical imaging provider. Choose quality, choose service, choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, time to switch to the other side of the ball. Talk quarterbacks. Tyler Shough met with the media today, as did Anthony Brown. Going to hear from the two quarterbacks next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Let's taste what's as good as the original, maybe even better.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in the back of your closet. What happened to us? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Okay, maybe I never really fit you right, but I got a lot more Sunday fun days left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. And today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Inside the quarterback room, Tyler Shough. He met with the media. He's been taking the overwhelming majority, really, of the snaps with the number one offense. The veteran of the room, if you will, in Tyler Shough. And he talked to the media for the first time since camp began earlier today.
Tyler, just going back to about 7 months ago now, but spring ends abruptly, and 2 weeks later you go from learning an offense and having things kind of stopped and paused to now having a pretty fierce quarterback competition. Just what was your initial reaction to everything back in late March, early April when, again, everything kind of paused, obviously, when this all started, and then Anthony committing?
Yeah, obviously it was an unfortunate situation getting shut down, but coming into it, Coach Cristobal and all the other coaches, we sat down and talked about, what's going to be best for the team, and we had to bring a competition in here in order to create a competition in the quarterback room to make everybody better. So wasn't really shocked after the spring, but just knowing that, what our work in the offseason was going to mean and how I was going to prepare myself and the guys around me to get better was going to be crucial.
Weird offseason, one we've never really seen before. No spring ball and lots of Zoom meetings. How would you just describe your comfort level with this new offense, and maybe how does that compare to this point in fall camp the previous 2 years here?
Yeah, I honestly feel a lot more comfortable with it than maybe in the offense in the past, just because, I spent a lot of time in the offseason with the amount of off time we had, just studying the playbook, getting with Coach Housewright, Coach Costa, and Coach Moorhead. Just trying to get as far ahead as I can in the playbook for when we do go through these installs in the fall, that I'm not surprised by anything, and I already kind of have a base understanding of it. And a lot of that comes with only work and repetitions with some of the wide receivers. And I felt like, going into it, granted with all the time and resources that we had, I felt like, I had no regrets, and I did everything I could to put me in a position to come into this battle and come into the fall ready to play.
Tyler, great to meet you, man. We've had some awesome quarterbacks come through here at Oregon. Obviously, you're going to be finding yourself compared to guys like Justin Herbert and the like. But, with the spotlight kind of on you, what kind of legacy do you want to leave at Oregon?
Yeah, obviously you can't replace a guy like Justin Herbert and guys before him. I'm just trying to be myself. I'm trying to be Tyler and make my own name and write my own story and this chapter here. So I'm excited for what's to come in the future, and I'm just really thankful that we can hopefully have a season and get some time.
Hey, Tyler, good to see you again. When they made the addition of Brown, you mentioned it a second ago, you were up for the challenge. How has maybe just having him around helped you grow as a quarterback and maybe take your game up a level?
Yeah, it's honestly been the best thing for me and the quarterbacks, because he brings a level of maturity, because he's an older guy. He has a good understanding of football itself. He's a great guy, great friend, great teammate, and overall he's just a great addition to the team. And I think I'm getting better because of it, and I know he is. So it's honestly been a great process, and I'm really thankful for it.
Tyler, getting that time to be around Justin and learn from him, I know that really helped you. You've said that in the past, but kind of a strange question. I'm just wondering, does his success in the NFL, tearing it up, 3 Rookie of the Week honors already, does that in any way give you even more confidence knowing, not only was he a good player at Oregon, but what he's doing right now in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm super happy for him. All the success he's had here at Oregon is translating to the NFL, and it's not really a shocker to me, because I know he's so talented physically, and he works extremely hard. So I'm super proud of him, and I'm really glad to see what he's doing up there, and it's obviously something and someplace that I want to be someday, and all the guys on our team. So he's been a great influence on us.
Tyler, I wanted to get your opinion of some of the standout wide receivers that have been catching the ball from you and the other quarterbacks this fall camp, and just give us an impression on what you're seeing from a quarterback's perspective.
Yeah, a lot of guys I'm really comfortable with so far and putting a lot of work in the offseason are guys like Johnny Johnson, Jalen Redd, Micah Pittman, Devin Williams, Josh Delgado. The list goes on. Every single guy that has been asked to step up to the plate has been. And, I've been working with mainly the first three guys that I said, and Johnny, Micah, and Jalen Redd. And, we just had a great chemistry so far. I feel so comfortable throwing to them. Been working a lot with the tight ends and Hunter Campmoyer, Spencer Webb, and Cam McCormick. So, I'm really excited for what we got going on and how we can get better each day.
Hey, Tyler. When Anthony committed, did you know who he was? Had you seen any of his games at BC just on TV? Did you go look him up or anything? And then you also said a great friendship there. Just what's that look like? Just two guys competing for a position and just your friendship.
Yeah. No, I had no prior knowledge of him. Just because I think that was just a wide gap between West Coast and East Coast television. And, I wasn't really familiar with Boston College or who they played against on a large basis. But once he got here, once we got into meetings and started working out together and throwing, we developed a good relationship and just honestly the respect for each other's game and respect that we were trying to get better. So, that's the base of it. And, I'm really glad that, we had that opportunity to get better together.
Yeah, Tyler, how is dealing with outside distractions this year different? Because, you've got teams in other conferences that have already played several games at this point. You guys haven't played yet. When a ranked team, loses, the playoff picture, analysts talk about that. How have you guys kind of dealt with that?
Yeah, we haven't really paid too much attention to, whether we can have a good chance of getting into the playoffs or anything like that, or what a lot of people like to talk about. We're just trying to focus on us during this fall camp and trying to focus on how we can get better, because it's all going to change no matter what. And all we can really control is the games that we have and who our opponent is and how we can get better. So when all the cards, are on the table, then they can decide that. But it's honestly the greatest thing we have been is just learning from their mistakes and learning how we can apply our game and just simplify it and not do what they did, turnovers, explosive plays, things like that we can try and make happen or avoid.
Coach Moorhead was talking even back in the spring about just the differences in this offense, and he really addressed head on what fans have been clamoring for a while, which is more quarterback runs. We got to see you do a little bit of that early in spring. How much more quarterback run is involved? We've seen even the option run game, it looks like, in the more traditional sense. How much more of a quarterback run, and how much do you think you bring to the table in that regard?
Yeah, definitely more than last year. We're definitely mixing it up a little bit. There's always stuff on the table for what can be best for the offense. I'm obviously told the coaches, and I feel like this offseason that my speed and agility has definitely increased, and I feel comfortable running in any situation between the tackles, on the edge, whatever is needed for the team. To be honest, I think Moorhead has the capability to do whatever's necessary, but it definitely is going to be a little bit more. Obviously than last year, and I'm just excited to see how I'll kind of meshes together.
Being the quarterback there in the room the longest, what have you seen from the two freshmen, Jay and Robbie, so far through fall camp? I know Jay was there a little bit in the spring as well.
Yeah, Jay has really shot up this fall camp. He's been playing great. He's got a great arm. He's had a good feel for the offense so far. He's been playing well. I think they're both still kind of trying to learn the offense and get the hang of things. And, Robbie's a really athletic guy. He's got a whole lot of talent, and they've been great in the quarterback room just as friends and teammates. They still got a ways to go for, I think, just learning football and the offense. But I think, the coaches have done a great job of that, and I'm trying to do the best that I can, to bring them along and talk to them. And so is Anthony, because we both have our different, different viewpoints and how we can both bring everybody along, because that's what matters. We're trying to make everybody better and get everybody ready to play.
Yeah, Tyler, quick question in Arizona. We're really seeing a lot of Arizona guys, come to Oregon in the past couple cycles. We got 4 or 5 guys this cycle. What do you think has kind of played a role in Arizona becoming such a big state for Oregon, recruiting-wise?
Yeah, I think it's just Arizona has a lot of talent. It was really kind of unrecognized before. I wasn't as recruited as much by Oregon and some other schools, and I think they're kind of starting to recruit down there and see a lot of these talented guys and a lot of great people. Before me was Johnny Johnson, guys like Jalen Jelks, Kanai Benoit. So, obviously those are great guys, great players, and it's kind of good to see a lot more Desert Ducks coming back to the Pacific Northwest, and I know they've been great additions to our team, and we've all kind of bonded over that same state, and how you got to deal with the weather change and how you can deal with all these other things. But it's been good to see a lot of guys coming, and in the future.
11 days in through fall camp, what have you kind of learned about this offense? What stood out in that scrimmage for you guys?
I think there's just a lot of opportunities for explosive plays and completions. We spread the ball around a lot. Everybody's going to get a touch on the ball. I think there's not really one guy that's going to be targeted or one specific play or down and distance. There's a lot of opportunities for plays to be made, and it's honestly been really refreshing because it's simplified reads. We're reading the defense a lot better. I have such a comfortability with the protection and understanding how the defenses works now just for 3 years in, and it's honestly been really exciting, and I'm ready for what's to come.
What's it been like watching Cody Bellinger this year, and just how much of a relationship is there?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I grew up with his younger brother. We were best friends, and we obviously went to the same high school at Hamilton in Chandler, Arizona. But I used to sleep over at their house all the time when Cody was just a skinny kid like me in high school, and then he shot up once he got to the minors and majors. But it's not shocking. He's been doing this for a while, so I'm really excited that he's in the World Series again, and hopefully they can pull this one off because they deserve it.
Tyler, with 5 new starters on the offensive line, how much chemistry have you been able to kind of develop with those guys behind the scenes the last couple of years, and how were you able to keep that going during the coronavirus absence?
Yeah, it's honestly probably been one of the greatest relationships that I've developed in the offseason, other than the wideouts. Is they're my Alex Forsythe, Ryan Walk. They're my roommates. So even we're at home eating dinner, we're talking about protections, talking about what we're gonna do against this blitz and what we're gonna call here, and then just going and Alex has been a great leader for them. They have their own meetings, COVID compliance wise, and whenever they can on their own, and they're talking through ball, and I'm just sitting in on it, trying to learn as much as I can. And it's good to have Steve Jones back, guys like Sala, TJ Bass. They're working really hard, so I'm excited to see what they can do. They obviously there are 5 new starters, but they're not playing like it. I've been really surprised and pleased. Not even surprised because I've seen it in the spring and seen it in the offseason, but I think a lot of people are surprised, at least on the coaching staff, because we had such a great offensive line last year. But I think what they've learned in the past and how they're applying it to themselves now is awesome.
Something I've thought about as we hear from Tyler Shough there talking about the quarterback room and the offensive line that protects him, and now he's roommates with 2 of those offensive linemen. Those are guys that he played with in practice all the time, working with the 2s. The majority of the number 1 offensive line now is who Tyler Shough has chemistry with, because that's who he ran with in practice with the 2s the last couple years. I think that there's a benefit to that. I really do. I think that sometimes we forget about that chemistry, and maybe because now you've got a sort of change of the guard along the offensive line in the trenches, maybe it helps with Tyler Shough. There's a little bit of chemistry there. I think that's something I'm going to have to ask those guys here moving forward. Up next, we're going to hear from the new guy, Anthony Brown, the transfer coming into the quarterback room and what he brings to the quarterback room. You heard that Tyler Shough's pretty darn happy that he's here. It's Stuck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Going to hear from Anthony Brown next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Doug Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Today's show brought to you by Jackson's Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. With everything that you need for the big game, get it at Jackson's. Go Ducks. We're inside the Country Financial Studio. Anthony Brown talked to the media upstairs in the Hatfield-Allen complex today. He talked about all things quarterbacks and why he chose Oregon. It was an interesting conversation here from Anthony Brown for the first time this camp.
Obviously, bizarre circumstances to join a program and timing and everything else. How have you approached the last 6 months, but also these 2 weeks where it's learning an offense, not having the benefit of spring, the limitations over the summer, and trying to put yourself in position to compete for a starting job, where winning a starting job in fall camp only is difficult under the best of circumstances, and these are not those circumstances?
Honestly, just taking every day step by step and taking it day by day, taking what I can get, and just trying to build a relationship with everyone here, as well as try to get my teammates to gravitate towards all of us, and just ultimately compete. And yeah.
The one thing you have in that room compared to everybody else is experience. And I was just curious, kind of going back through your career, is there a specific game that you can point to where you would say, like, this was like the best highlights of like what I can bring to the position? Like maybe that Wake Forest game, like the 5 touchdowns, or, you know, you've played 5 games against top 25 opponents. Which game would you point to as like, this was me at my best?
Honestly, I don't know. 'Cause even that game, I didn't play my best, 'cause there was still so many missed opportunities out there, but I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
Hi, Anthony. Great to meet you, man. Like a lot of us have been saying, you have that experience under your belt at Boston College, logged a lot of starts there, some good wins. What have been some of the valuable lessons that you think you've been able to take from your time at Boston and kind of translate that to your time here in Eugene?
Just some little things as far as leadership, and being able to take some young guys and bring them along with you. And just having that experience, being in the position I was my true freshman year with Pat Tolles coming in from Kentucky. I learned so much from him in that 1 year of redshirting, that I feel like it's my duty to do the same thing that he did for me for others. And yeah, just teaching others, and bringing them along and making sure they mature as fast as they possibly can. So when their time is called, they're ready.
Hey, Anthony, I know you're a guy from Jersey and played obviously in Massachusetts, and I went to school on the East Coast myself. So I was kind of just wondering your perspective on how you find Eugene versus how you found the East Coast. How do you like it here?
I love it. It's so peaceful. Like the mountains are something I've never seen before. Well, I've seen them before, but the way they look here, it just looks like a movie backdrop. So it's very gorgeous, honestly. And there's a lot of nature, which I like and I don't like at the same time, but I love seeing it. So it's a beautiful place. And it's definitely the right place for anybody that wants to be focused on school and football, as far as being in the city at another school and stuff like that. So.
Hey, Anthony, I know we haven't spoken with you since you committed. Can we rewind a little bit and talk about kind of what the decision came down to, maybe some of the other candidates you had consideration for a grad transfer, and was there at all a possibility you just would have stuck it out at Boston College?
There was a possibility of me sticking it out at Boston College, but some things didn't work out, and ultimately it came down between Mississippi State and Oregon. And I got a chance to take my visit out here. I didn't get my chance to take a visit in Mississippi State. And ultimately, I didn't really pick Oregon. It was more of a field thing, and I felt like I took a lot of time to pray, and it was more like God picked it more than I did. So,
Hey, Anthony, given those two schools you just mentioned, is it safe to say that you feel like your skill set is a good match with Joe Moorhead? And can you just discuss kind of how you fit with him?
no matter what skill set it is, I feel like Coach Moorhead puts his quarterbacks in the right position to be successful, or even the offense, period. As far as the offensive line, running backs, tight ends, receivers, everybody is going to be put in position to be successful. So it's not just my skill set. It has to play a part with all of our quarterbacks, but just taking that into perspective, it takes more than just our skill set to set this offense up and be successful.
Anthony, how do you approach this from the really big picture, in the sense of, I mean, again, in a normal year, grad transfer, you'd be looking to move on to the league. I was speaking to Quincy back at the time you committed. He was saying that's obviously your dream and aspiration, as it is for everybody. But when you have another year of eligibility, if you wanted it, is that still the plan after the season? And I hate to ask this via Zoom, man, but I mean, you trained with Jamie and he opted out. If this competition doesn't go your way, are you committed to seeing out this fall?
Well, I plan to take it day by day. I'm not really worried about the future right now. I'm worried about tomorrow's practice, which is full pads. And that's how I approach it. I can't really look into the future right now because I don't know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, Anthony, you got to have the scrimmage last Saturday in an empty Autzen Stadium. Have you kind of processed your brain for what it'll be like an entire Pac-12 season without fans in the stands? And will there be some advantages, maybe communication-wise, with the staff and your teammates during those games?
Absolutely. There would be some advantages. There would be some disadvantages, but ultimately we'll have to bring our own energy. And just that's the biggest part right now, bringing your own energy and knowing our jobs, doing our jobs, and just executing and finishing. And I feel like over time that will happen. So.
Are you the type of guy, like, do you put a lot of pressure on yourself, like moving across the entire country, senior year, coming off of injuries in the middle of a pandemic? I mean, just as you were coming out here, like what was kind of like your thought process and just that sort of pressure that you put on yourself?
Talking to my parents and my family, it's just like, it wasn't much pressure. It was just a decision that was made, for the betterment of my future. So I don't see it as pressure. I see it as an opportunity, and it's something that I have to take hold of and basically embrace it. So,
Anthony, I just asked Tyler this exact same question, but who has impressed you from the wide receiver corps? Who have you clicked with here in camp?
They have all been impressive to me. One person that I've really been throwing the ball to lately is Devin Williams, and he's really learning his stuff. He's really, really talented and great size, but not just Devin Williams, but there's a ton of talent in the receiver room. So just not trying to take away from the other receivers, but they're all talented and very – I'm grateful to be able to throw to them. So –
You just spoke with Tyler a couple minutes before you, Anthony. He was talking about the friendship you two had developed in the short time you've been out here. I'm curious, what's it like, this competition with him? How are you pushing him? How is he pushing you? And kind of what are you getting out of this?
We just build from one another. He's really talented, and he's really smart. The only thing that he's missing is experience, which is fine. A lot of people lack experience, and they still do their thing. Which is a good thing. He pushes me, I push him, and we also help the others around us learn the offense and just basically try to make each other excel. and we feed off each other. And I think it's a really good relationship that we have and one that we built. We talk a lot, and it's going to be exciting.
That's great stuff from Anthony Brown, hearing from him and Tyler Shough for the first time this camp today. Great day for interviews. We're not going to get a chance to hear from Ryan Walk. He had some great things to say, but Alex Mirabal, Oregon offensive line coach, is meeting with the media tonight. So tomorrow we'll have his interview and Ryan Walk's interview for you on the show. We'll zero in on that offensive line tomorrow, go through the organizational chart, the depth chart for that position group tomorrow, which means that next we're going to hear from Jamal Hill. Didn't get a chance to hear from him yesterday, as we continue to run out of time on the show with so many great interviews to play for you. We're going to hear from Jamal Hill playing that nickel position. That's next. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Hearing from Jamal Hill next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, Fish Dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Before we hear from Jamal Hill, it's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. The Ducks are in practice pads again tomorrow as we ramp up toward that next scrimmage on Saturday. Mario Cristobal will meet with the media on Saturday. And that's really the latest from Oregon football. Kelly Graves also just wrapped up talking with the media today, said that his entire team is still in masks, even during scrimmage portions of practice, and even with all these new testing protocols that have been implemented around the Pac-12 for men's and women's basketball. We'll have some of those details from Kelly Graves for you on the show tomorrow as well. Otherwise, we're all just ramping up for football, getting ready. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, brought to you by Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, where special diet requests and custom orders are always welcome. Menus, nutrition info, cafeyum.com. Well, we've heard from Rod Chance. We've heard from Tyler Shough and Anthony Brown. Now we'll hear from Jamal Hill, a guy who has really turned some heads and did last year, to be honest. He flashed to me watching him at practice last year. Not surprised to hear his name come up in consideration for a starting job in the Oregon defense. Jamal Hill met with the media.
Obviously, it's not as much time as you typically would have to prepare for a starting spot. And kind of what were the challenges of getting ready for this fall camp where the expectation is you're going to have a chance to start this year?
I think I found out when the rest of the world found out. But I mean, I just attacked it. Like I knew I was prepared for this moment, but I just attacked it and just trust my training. I knew my teammates was gonna push me every day to make sure I was ready. So
Jamal, I was just curious, coming all the way from Georgia to the Pacific Northwest, did you have any culture shock last year, and just how much more comfortable do you feel now at Oregon and just being in the program?
Yeah, I think I definitely had like a little culture shock, but not really towards football season, just more so like the outside of football part. And then, as the football season went on, I kind of got comfortable just, just learning college football. Like, it's way different. The speed is different, tempo is definitely different. So just got used to that.
Jamal, your name has come up a number of times in these interviews with coaches and players when we're asking about, who's caught their eye and whatnot. Talk about what's different about you this year and why you're catching so many eyes, and how you've made this improvement.
I think just trusting my coaching, just being way more coachable this year, and trusting my fundamentals and everything that has been instilled in me, like before I got to Oregon, and the things I've learned since being here, and just learning from the older guys, really just learning how to practice, learning, the scheme more, and just being a sponge every day and just trying to get better every day.
Jamal, Coach Avalos has talked about just how important the nickel position is in that defense, and especially go back last year. I mean, we talked about how it was even probably the most important position on the whole defense. How do you view it? And obviously with Javon moving on, just knowing that responsibility falls on you for this season, just how important that position is.
I accept the challenge like fully, and I know my coaches and my teammates gonna prepare me each week for whatever challenges we might face. And you feel me? I don't think they would put me out there if I wasn't ready. So.
Yeah, Jamal, I'm curious, are you working primarily at nickel, or are you bouncing around a little bit this season? And who else is working with you at nickelback right now?
Yeah, I'm playing the nickelback right now. Me, Hap, and Bennett Williams.
We've obviously only seen 1 year of Andy Avalos' defense. Javon played the position you're going to play, we think, at nickel this last season. I'm curious for you, kind of how do you differentiate yourself between Javon and maybe what are we going to see at that position that we haven't seen in the past?
I mean, I can't really like pinpoint like what's exactly different about us, but I mean, Javon definitely great player. Like, that was a great person. I had somebody to really look up to, like watch everything he did on and off the field.
That's good stuff talking about Javon Holland there from Jamal Hill. Watch him all the time on and off the field. That's a good guy to watch on and off the field. That's Jamal Hill, and he has turned a lot of heads playing that nickel position, everybody. Trust me, he can play that spot. He can play it well. Busy show today. Heard from the quarterbacks, heard from Rod Chance, cornerbacks coach, quarters and cornerbacks today, plus Jamal Hill. Tomorrow, going to talk offensive line, Alex Mirabal, Ryan Walk. Also going to hear from Kelly Graves, Oregon women's basketball. Talk to you tomorrow.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.com.